Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome along to episode 50 of the Sofamanager Scottish Football Podcast. Yes, that's right, episode 50. Our half-centenary episode. Our golden anniversary for starting the podcast. So something a little bit special this week, as is every week on our podcast, of course. We're going crazy with some top 5s that YouTube and the internet seems to be so obsessed with. So we'll be going through our top 5 things, or trying to escape from Room 101, I think is the style we're going for. We'll explain a bit more later. Our top 5 things that we love about Scottish football, going nice and positive this week. I'll be going through my top 5 pre-match songs as a football announcer, and John will be telling us his top 5 Scottish football stadiums. That's something to stay tuned in for. He's visited them all, bar 1 or 2.
38 out of 42.
Yeah, so near enough. That's a pretty professional opinion.
That's not bad.
And we'll also be quizzing each other on some daft predictions we've made along the 50 episodes or so, and trust me, there are quite a few, so stay tuned for that. And we'll also be running through the big derby game at the weekend, categorised as A+. What could that be? So listening for that, not the A+ you might think, that's for sure. And we'll also be previewing the Scottish Cup semi-finals next weekend, which John and I are lucky enough to be going to. The most exciting one, in my opinion, not the one you might expect. So we'll be going along to that. Anyway, joining myself, Scotland's ropiest football announcer, Paul Menzies, for this evening's centenary episode. The trio are back together.
Hey.
At long last. Hello. We've got barbecue master John Brown.
What up?
Who's been busy assembling his barbecue in anticipation for our Sofamanager summer holidays. All set up now, the burgers.
Aye.
Good to be flipping, John.
I'm ready for the end of the season.
He's got the baps ready and prepared as we would expect. And we also welcome back our Spanish football expert, Darren Gibson.
Hello, Paul.
Looking good in your minty green Barcelona kit there, Darren.
Thank you.
Not one I've seen in a lot this season. We could come back to some daft Spanish predictions later. So
Oh, yes.
Anyway, let's crack straight on with the show. So, first things first. Hooray! Episode 50.
Yes.
With some jazzy music behind this to celebrate. So some stats. Do you remember when the first podcast episode was, John?
It was in August, maybe.
No.
Although, it was in your caravan, that's what
It
I
was
Is it later than that?
in the caravan. I've got it down as the 22nd of September.
remember. Was it? As late as that?
I think it might have been a bit earlier than that.
I remember talking about the Betfred Cup.
We talked about the Betfred Cup in the Europa League, so maybe kind of August. Oh no, before January, March, April, May, June, July.
July is what I was saying.
22nd of July, 2016. So coming up on 2 years for that, recording away in the caravan. We still, to this day, use the trusty old caravan table. That would be a cosy show to record on. So the ratio works out at roughly one podcast every how many weeks, John? We claim to be a weekly show.
2, maybe?
2, what do you think, Darren? 3? About 1.6 weeks. So that's not bad.
That's better than what I thought it was.
You've heard Sofamanager on average every fortnight. You know, if only we were as popular as that game. So that's very, very good. What were your highlights, guys, of the 50 episodes so far?
Spending so much time with you, Paul.
Oh, that's terrible. I'm the one that burns the midnight oil putting this together. Anyway, what were your highlights, Darren?
Highlights. I've always quite liked our prediction shows and things, and preview shows.
It's been very, very bad, but yes, we always lagged behind. You've always won that portion of the show, haven't you?
Oh, well.
Okay.
Quite like that. And obviously our previews to the seasons and things.
I think that's where we've thrived. Not when the season's going on and our footballing knowledge, but what we think will happen. It's probably where we've thrived. I think my highlights: passing 1,000 followers on Instagram, a proud moment.
Oh yes,
for being my ego. That was nice. Designing the logo, I think, was good fun.
It's a good job of that.
It's nice to have. It's quite cool. It gives us a sense of authenticity and validation we don't get elsewhere, possibly. And also our first comments, I thought were very, very exciting.
There's people out there.
Yeah, there is people out there, people participating, and you know, every time I will get that wee notification that someone's subscribed or listened, it's always very, very exciting. So thank you very much to the few people out there that do. We endeavour to keep going and, of course, improve and expand over time.
Our empire.
Our empire, exactly. Anyway, to the main feature this week. We are discussing our favourite things about Scottish football. Okay, so are we all familiar with the television programme 101?
Yes.
Yeah.
In Room 101, you put things you don't like into Room 101. You had a slight spin on this suggestion for how we would structure this, John, correct?
It's the great 101 escape.
It's the great 101 escape. So we're taking things we like about Scottish football, and we're assuming that all of Scottish football has been put into Room 101.
Yeah, probably.
Every chance.
It probably has
Every
anyway.
chance at some point. So we're kind of selecting the things that we would nominate to be escaped from. So Darren, would you like to start us off with your opening arguments?
Right, okay, yeah. So my first one, let's go for the Scottish Cup, and
Woohoo!
the bit I like about that is that we have junior teams in the Scottish Cup.
Mm-hmm.
So got a couple of examples in recent years actually. So one of our local teams, Linlithgow Rose, they beat Forfar 1-0 in 2016 January. And another example would be in December that year, 2016. Dumbarton were playing Bonnyrigg Rose.
Oh, I thought Dumbarton were the junior team.
And Bonnyrigg beat them 1-0.
Ouch.
So I just think that's what I love about the Scottish Cup, like these great stories for these teams.
Well, this year it was obviously Brora Rangers
Obviously,
of the Highland League came all the way through. We had Bonnyrigg ended up playing, I think, Hibernian. At Easter Road, not Easter Road, Tynecastle, where they got roundly pumped. But no, I totally agree with you there. I think the beauty of that cup, and everyone does love the kind of the junior teams. I think once they all get punted out, the kind of non-league, cult hero teams, the interest kind of wanes a little bit as it's left with kind of Premier League and Championship teams, predictably, to kind of slog it out for the main thing. But it gives everyone hope. Yeah,
it's good that Scottish football gives you that opportunity to actually do it, because it's not like every country does that.
No. One of our oldest competitions in the world as well, isn't it? The Scottish Cup.
I was not aware, yeah.
Oldest cup competition in the world. Well, football anyway.
We'll be seeing it in its full glory next weekend, John.
Aye.
At the beautiful Hampden Park. So, nope, big tick from us there, I think. You agree with that, John?
Absolutely.
Yeah. What's point number 2, Darren?
Number 2, this is quite a controversial one, but I like it. Oh, yeah. The split.
I don't know. I'm with Darren on this.
You like the split?
I like the split.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Just because it makes it a bit different. So what I like about the split
it
is
divides the league as well as opinion. Sorry.
What I like about the
Sponsored
split
by Marmite.
is that basically you have something to aim for during the season. So if you get at 6th spot, obviously, you're not going to be playing against the teams in the bottom half of the table.
You're going to be pumped by the teams above you.
And
as a la Partick Thistle last season.
And even after the split, even if you don't get enough points, you're still going to be 6th. So it's always quite funny to look at the table when you've got less points than maybe the team in 7th. But you're getting 6th spot. Brilliant.
I think it's interesting. I remember when I was younger, the only time I used to be interested in football is like we'd be away on holiday and you'd see the scores coming on Sports Scene at someone else's house or something. Yeah. And I always used to see the league and Aberdeen were in 7th. I was like, oh, 7th. But wait a minute, they've got more points than the team in 6th. What is that about?
Yeah.
I think it's confusing from that end of things, but yeah, I see. It definitely does promote competition.
And compared to like other countries, like so, let's say take England for example, right? So they aim for Europa League and Champions League, but a team coming 8th might not be that first. Like they might just be happy enough to come 12th or whatever. Yeah. But having that split there, you might for the Scottish teams, it's something to aim for.
We can aim for 7th place. 6. It's very exciting.
7th place, that's what you want. But I know there's money and all that for getting a higher spot.
I know. In Scotland, I think it's a $5 per position.
For England, definitely. Not as much in Scotland.
Oh, definitely. But I know that John Brown, editor of Sofamanager.com over here, is very keen on splits and would actually like to see more splits.
I spent a lot of time looking at that.
You suggested your way to fix Scottish football was regional divisions split by performance or something like that?
It's a long-winded way. It's like
it's more complicated than that.
Okay.
Top league of 18, play each other twice, split into 6 leagues. 3 leagues of 6 mini leagues, which would be quite good.
Well, I know in...
You get your 37 games, you're still going to have your 3 old fun games.
Well, that's the reason.
Which is a slight issue where you go who plays where, but...
Yeah.
That's the reason we have the split now, and the big issue we have at the moment is they're trying to figure out when to schedule the Old Firm games so that Celtic don't win it
But
Yeah.
it's just going to have to be the first week in the split.
Well, then they thought that wouldn't work, and it might have worked. Now they don't know who's going to finish second at this rate, so it's all up in the air.
It's exciting though.
Why don't you let them win it in an Old Firm game?
I know, but it's just, that's a farce. That's borderline not very sportsmanlike, is
It's
it?
not very sportsmanlike, Jonathan. You are correct. Dear, we shall return to the gantry and discuss this.
Yeah, it's
further.
a joke. Sporting
quality.
integrity.
Exactly.
That's
but,
effectively fixing a match.
It's certainly very unique. It's certainly very unique. But I know that in other countries to kind of promote excitement, like Brazil, they just go into playoffs at the end of the season because the only way they just love that kind of the sudden death thing. So it's the way we do it. I think it works well. It's the best solution we had at the time.
The only solution we've got, even moving forward.
Well, I don't give my unanimous support to it for things I
I'd
love
rather
about
just play
Scottish
what-
football.
I think so. I just think it makes it exciting.
No,
for
point.
the end of the season.
Point well made. No,
It's good.
succinct.
Absolutely.
Do you have a third point, Daz?
No, I just had the two there.
Ronathon, what do you have?
Me.
Yeah.
What I love about Scottish football is goal celebrations, especially at the end of the season. Absolute scenes.
Well,
I think we celebrate goals better than anyone else.
I think you pointed out to me the other week. I think on YouTube, like I think Hearts scoring against Liverpool and things like that made like a top 10 list of like the best reactions ever. And a game we come back to the weekend. Dunfermline fans were spilling out and over barriers at their second goal. I remember when Aberdeen scored against Bayern Munich. Scenes when we scored against Kilmarnock, Falkirk in the playoff. Scenes, playoff games and cup finals.
But that's when it really matters. When the goal really matters, we celebrate better than anyone else. England
Yeah,
as well.
it's
England.
great. England's good too. I suppose. But
For British fans, I think we do it better than anyone else in the world.
It's the sound we make though. Like you've got the differentiation. Like,
It's just a wall of noise. Like it's
it
absolutely.
is. But Spaniards go whoa, and that's a kind of
And then,
wafty
then they bring out
wavering.
their iPhone and take a picture of it and all this.
Oh, everybody does that now. See when you see that, they're all going for corners and everyone's like,
Yeah, it is.
exactly.
Applauding an overhead kick.
totally didn't film away fans at the weekend. Anyway, but I just absolutely agree. There's nothing better than Scottish fans in a big game
Oh, it's superb. Yeah.
celebrating a fantastic goal.
Absolutely nuts. Nothing better.
I remember it was a Scottish Cup final, Rangers against Falkirk in 2009. I nearly said 8. Thank you, John. And it was Nachinovo scored that. It was a fantastic volley.
Oh, that
second
was
half.
brilliant.
I was waiting on a hot dog.
Yeah.
I watched it on the telly.
Oh, you were in the bathroom, were you?
Yeah.
Anyway, I literally stood up because the noise that came from what must have been 40,000 Rangers fans.
There was only about 12 and a bit thousand Falkirk fans.
The noise was incredible. I thought our own team had scored.
Mm.
It was that loud, and I presume it'd be similar at Old Firm games and kind of roaring Hampdens of the day and stuff like that. So I give a big tick there.
Yeah, definitely. agree
We don't
with
see enough of those occasions these days, I don't think. Like the last time I think I properly went mad for a goal was Lee Griffiths scoring his free kick against England.
I would agree with you there, but
Yeah.
even going before that, I mean, I remember losing my head when Sib scored against Hibs, and then Leahy scored against Hibs, McHugh scored against Hibs, McHugh scored against Hibs as well again.
Yeah, I think for your own club, you'll always
Oh.
have something in that season.
I can still see
a
the
couple
ball.
of moments.
I can still see the ball going under Conrad Logan.
I remember, I think Darren Mackey's diving header against Nipro,
All right, yeah.
running around the house because that was them qualified for the Cup. And then Darren Mackey scored against Celtic, I think, to put them into a cup semi-final, like way back when. I'm sure Jan Vennegoor of Hesselink elbowed Xander Diamond in the face, gave him a black eye, which had it been the reverse would have been an outrage, but everyone was like, nah, it was fine. No, I'd heartily agree with that.
Good stuff.
Great.
Well, I'm glad you agree. That's saying that. That's coming out of room 101 there.
I think that's probably my top one so far.
Hashtag scenes.
Yeah, John.
I also love to see the other fans when your own team is like time wasting, or vice versa.
It's something we've spoken about in the podcast before, is the utter rage of the Scottish football fan. And
Watching a guy middle-aged go off his head because a goalkeeper is taking his time over a goal kick is just glorious. It's funny as anything.
it's funny though, like you watch the games live on TV And as if by magic, you hit a button and like 80 folk in the stand will get up and raise their hand. I don't know why this raising the hand always happens when you're like blutering just swear words at the Dunfermline keeper. Or anyone else that they could be possibly aimed at.
Amazing. It's just honestly the funniest thing, watching a guy burst an artery giving abuse at some guy who just sits and laughs at you.
Some of the insults are quite good though. Like, very blunt sometimes, but
it can be quite to the bone, but it's great.
Depends. You need to be a brave man with good patter, I think, to get your insult right. It's not something I've ever, aside for the occasional "you're an arsehole," is the kind of typical. If you get that shout nice and clear, I think it works very effectively. I will bleep that, don't worry.
Frothing at the mouth.
Family friendly. I'm not a big fan of time wasting, truth be told.
No, neither am I, but that's up to the ref to deal with. I go off my head sometimes too, especially when it's a real pressure game.
Mm-hmm.
That's just part of the atmosphere. It's brilliant. It just makes a bit more of a...
Oh, aye. To be honest, I'm more likely to go off my head at our own players that I'm supporting. Like, what do you
Well, that's true, yeah.
That as well.
And I remember, sorry to talk about Falkirk so much, this is just a Falkirk podcast. Everyone stop listening if you don't support. But that playoff game, when we were at the Dundee United, Darren and I were fuming at the back of the stand, hitting stuff, kicking stuff. And people were...
Smash it up.
Egypt over here, John Brown was standing applauding the players at the end. Did he applaud them? They're a bunch of crap.
I don't remember applauding them after that game.
It was the last game of the season. Everyone was like, "Oh, thanks for the great season." I was like, "Buzz off! They do not deserve your applause. That was an appalling, abysmal performance." And I felt exactly the same at Dunfermline this week. Anyway,
That was just an acceptance of a poor game.
Exactly.
I'm glad the season's over.
We'll tick to that. What else, John?
I also like the togetherness of the Diddy teams when it comes to anti-Old Firm games.
We always go for the upset.
We like the underdogs.
We are the underdogs, though, in every sentence, I think, aren't we?
Pretty much.
I think, in Europe, and that's why the kind of Scotland, France, Scotland, Italy victories were so amazing. Because we came from behind. I'm trying to think of any big upsets against the Old Firm this season. It's good to see Motherwell get a point off of Celtic the other week. Or Rangers, sorry. It's always good to see Rangers lose some points, isn't it?
I'm a Raging Aberdeen fan this week.
But
next week we don't know.
Rangers are universally disliked. And, we all know I'm a closet Celtic fan, so it's like... but no, I would agree with that.
Good stuff. That's for me. I like the end of Scottish football as well, so I can go and enjoy my summer and not be stressed.
But you're a great advocate for summer football as well, are you not?
I know. I like the break.
Non-stop.
Well, kind of following on from that, the things I love about Scottish football, number one is a Scotch pie at half-time.
Standard.
Scotch pies is remarkable. When we would rank the best Scotch pies we've ever had, I think number one is Falkirk.
Is it a good Scotch pie?
Yeah, I like Falkirk.
Very good Scotch pie. Yeah. Number two, I thought the Rangers Scotch pie was decent.
Yeah, I like the Rangers.
3, Aberdeen, I was never that impressed with their
never
Scotch
had an
pies.
Aberdeen one.
I sadly never got one at Kilmarnock, which was supposed to be the best.
They changed their supplier though.
Did they?
Yeah. It's no longer... I forget the guy's name.
When we went for the playoff, they were handing them out at full time. And my brother was like, I got one. I was like, no! You just sample that.
What was your brother's for?
He thought they were very, very good. Very, very
Better
good.
than Falkirk?
Better than Falkirk.
Alright, Dunfermline do a good Scottish pie. They also do a macaroni pie, which is really nice.
Do we get that option at Falkirk? I don't think we do.
Nah, you get a steak pie. I've never had a steak pie at a game. I think that's a wee bit too dodgy.
I've had the hospitality steak pies.
Of course you
There's a
have.
surprise.
Well, aye. But I don't think the hospitality steak pies are as good as the standard ones you would get, actually, interestingly enough. They're just different.
You also
How
have
do we know?
Just had food everywhere.
It's not something I normally go for when I go to a game. I've usually either had a McDonald's before or after the game.
I've not had a... We've been in Morton a few times. I didn't have the pie there because the queue was too long. Did you have a burger there?
It wasn't an option at a pie.
No,
there,
it was just a
for
burger
the
bag.
away fans anyway. But
no, I think the great thing about that is, we play through the bitter cold of winter. And only now, with 4 games to go in the league, is it starting to warm up a little bit.
I only needed 3 layers on Saturday, so...
Exactly. I was just with a jumper. I took the overcoat off this week.
One pair of
on
socks.
the gantry. Well, aye. 1 pair of socks, aye. So I think I do enjoy a wee frosty football match.
No, it's awful.
Oh, but
It's
right.
awful.
I do admit I complain about being miserable and freezing, but there is an atmosphere to it.
No, there's no. You sit in a plastic chair, frozen, and just hoping to God it ends.
I've got a wee space heater next to me
Aye,
in the announcer's box.
I
which
can
maybe
handle
makes it
cold over absolutely pissing down with rain, basically, like drenching rain. Remember when we were at that Morton game?
Oh
that
my
was
God,
terrible.
that was bad because it was cold and wet,
Oh, there was an open-ended stand. That was,
blowing a gale.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, there's
Just
a whole side terrace lying empty, and a main stand lying empty.
But that's to intimidate the away fans, isn't it?
This is what you could have had if you were a fan.
We need to get that sorted. That place is a ramshackle mess. But no, there's nothing better than a Tuesday night Development League game in -1.
No.
Can't deny it. The Scotch pie tastes so much better.
That can stay in 101.
And we are the only place in the world to have Scotch pies. True facts. It is the best halftime snack.
You know, I've always wondered why they were called Scotch pies.
After 50 episodes, I've enjoyed my time on the Sofamanager podcast, but I would like to announce my resignation. But it's better than, like, I don't know, what would they have in England? Like,
Ridiculously expensive, so you don't bother.
well, they would have steak pies and stuff, I guess.
You just drink, you get beer, that's fine.
I know.
Liquid
We
diet.
have Bovril.
They have beer, we have Bovril.
We have Bovril. I think they have Bovril too, actually.
I think they do, actually.
Everyone has Bovril. Well, the Spaniards don't have Bovril. There you go.
No,
What do you have at half-time at Spanish games, Dan?
it's usually just like just a drink and
Of
like,
wine.
just
I bet it's much fancier. They have a wee spread, a nice, some prawns and...
They normally have guys who kind of,
That's after the game.
they come in with the trays and they didn't need to go down to the kiosk.
Oh, yeah.
They come to you.
The kind of American style.
Costs a fortune. I paid €10 for a cup of cola
Did you?
at the San Siro.
Oh, yeah, bandit.
Threw it back home.
Always eating crisps in Spain. Yeah.
So that the Milan Derby game, was that a funny time? It was on at like
I was supposed
11
to.
in the morning or something like that.
No, that was Tuesday night.
But
During
it
the
was
Champions
on
League.
at like 6 o'clock or something like that.
Oh, I don't know.
They've done it before, the
Was that
Milan
like-
Derby on it, like 11:30,
Mm-hmm.
for the Chinese market.
They're both owned by Chinese
They were
owners.
both owned, yeah, that was the reason.
Because that was supposed to be the same weekend as is that a story? He passed away, Fiorentina defender.
Oh, right.
All games were cancelled, but it was the Milan Derby that weekend.
Ah,
Moving to
right.
Tuesday
Cancelled
night.
all the games.
It's the unfortunate ruling by UEFA that non-Champions League games can be shown on Tuesday or Wednesday nights. So that's why there was no Scottish games on TV.
I think there's more than one reason.
Well,
for
there's more than
that.
one reason for that. It's that
That's true. I did
principle.
wonder. Yeah.
I don't think there was any English games on.
No.
Aston Villa, were they not playing?
I think everyone's
Sky
attention
something
was
just
skewed by Liverpool Man City at the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, exactly.
But no. Scotch pies, my favourite snack, and available at Hampden, which is my next favourite thing about Scottish football. And this will be a controversial point because not everyone loves Hampden. But there's not much that's kind of better doing your cup trip to Hampden. I guess it ties into Scottish Cup, League Cup, whatever.
Yeah.
If you ask Motherwell fans this season, I'm pretty sure they're pretty enjoying, their trips to Hampden. Yet to be in a final.
No, they got to the final.
They got to the League Cup final. Well, they're not getting to the next one.
Oh,
Fingers crossed. But
tough talk.
I'm a big fan of going trash talk. I'm a big fan of going to Hampden. I think it's a very kind of special day, and we are quite fortunate to have a national stadium to go to, because it would not be the same going to Ibrox or Celtic Park or
No, I like
more
that.
than likely McDermott Park, which seems to be the default.
For Challenge Cup games.
Aye,
A terrible crowd for that. That's a different story.
yeah, 4,000.
Went under 5. Terrible. Anyway, I don't know. The argument was to move to Murrayfield,
Mhm.
and I wouldn't mind, but it's the fact that you've got to kind of humph Glasgow effectively through Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Because it will happen. You can't avoid that
No,
kind of thing happening. So logistically, it's a nightmare. And fair enough, just leave it where it is.
I know there's a lot of people who don't like Hampden, but I do like it, to be
I
honest.
like
I
Hampden.
like it as... obviously, I like it because it's in Glasgow too, because it's a wee bit different,
Mhm.
and it's a bit like what you say, John, like going back like through Edinburgh way is a wee bit
I mean, could you honest
off
have
the football scale.
60,000 Old Firm fans piling through to Edinburgh?
yeah, the
Yeah.
trams would be
Cup
pretty
final,
hectic.
it
aye.
would
Yeah.
be carnage.
But no, I do like Hampden. I like it as a sort of national stadium. Yeah.
Have like direct trains. Have like the Celtic train leaving the Glasgow Central and just leaving the Queen
Ah, what would you
Street.
do? Aye,
I suppose the word didn't work right.
Well, I know, but the central line's much, much longer, so...
It's fine.
Would that stop it? You'd probably stop it.
Well, you just make them direct.
Haymarket. Haymarket?
Well, you could get
Haymarket.
one to stop at Haymarket, one to stop at Waverley, and have them coming the other way. Why are we discussing this?
The logistics of something that's not going to happen. Because Queen's Park are going to sell it. So we need to get to a Hampden game with Queen's Park fast, because they're not going to be playing at Hampden
Before
for
it's
much
too
longer.
late.
Aye.
I think they will.
I don't think they will.
They'll sell it to the SFA,
Yes.
but there'll be a 99-year lease that'll get put in place.
I think they'll stop playing their games at Hampden and have to play at Lesser Hampden or something.
I don't know why they don't
That's
do
what
that
we're talking
anyway.
about, yeah.
They just develop Lesser Hampden. They could do for your friendlies against Costa Rica.
I know, a million miles off. A million miles off. What's the next one? No, we played Hungary.
It's the
Two
two
away games,
Peru.
Peru and is
Oh
it
my gosh.
Mexico or somebody like that?
Mexico! Da, 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 da,
I think
da,
our
da.
next home game's against like Belgium.
Oh, it could be Portugal though.
Why would it be Portugal?
Ronaldo might be coming to Hampden. You not heard that story?
No.
I heard that story.
The Belgium thing was never confirmed.
Uh-huh.
It was on its way, sort of still.
Aye.
But they're looking to organise a fixture against Portugal at Hampden in October.
Ooh.
That sounds better. Yeah.
Big Bruno Alves is what I'm more excited about, John.
He can't travel very far anyway.
Well, Candace is Portuguese as well. We could we family reunion. Caixinha could manage for the day. It would be great.
We'll be Rangers fans in the away end.
Yes, more likely. More than likely. So no, last point I had was Derby days, like the Old Firm. Edinburgh Derby's always quite fiery. It's a mince game, but a good atmosphere.
The derbies have been really good this season in the League Cup.
Aye, we've been very fortunate to have those actually. They might not be around for much longer.
Ah, well.
For a couple of reasons. But no, I think, and then the Falkirk, the Vermland Derby, fantastic atmosphere. To a lesser extent, like St Mirren and Morton.
But to them it's huge.
To them it's huge. Hamilton,
Yeah.
Motherwell's, usually quite an exciting fixture. I think, our derbies are quite exciting. We do have quite a few of them as well.
There's a few derbies, there's a few rivalries as well that kind of get thrown in. Aberdeen Rangers, Celtic Aberdeen I suppose as well.
They always pump us, it's not really alright.
Dundee United Aberdeen,
Look at a new firm derby of old.
Falkirk Wraith.
Okay. Hardly. Well, Falkirk Hibernian for the sounds of things. I think Hibernian Rangers is always quite a...
There's a bit of needle in
is
that
actually,
now.
There's a bit of bite to
I
that.
think anything with Hibs at the moment is just a wee bit.
A wee bit fine. They've only lost 6 games this
They've
season.
been phenomenal.
Whoa. I'm taken aback by that, John.
But they
Yeah,
have.
exactly.
They've been absolutely brilliant.
Not as good as Aberdeen and Rangers and Celtic.
Well,
Although that'll be up for debate in a
we
few
will
games'
see.
time.
Not yet.
Doesn't bode well in this top 6 split we love so much. So I'm going to push you. What's our number one thing we love about Scottish football?
Hashtag scenes.
Reactions. Yeah.
Yeah, I do like the derby.
Do you like the
You
derbies?
said the derbies. Yeah,
Aye,
there's not many bad derbies. You see, to be honest.
Scottish pies.
Scotch pies. Yeah.
So we in total disagreement.
We agreed to disagree.
We need to get Frank Skinner here to decide. We'll let the listeners decide. What is your favourite thing about Scottish football? What do you love? What have we missed out?
We'll put it to a Twitter poll.
We'll put yes. That's a good
We'll
idea.
put
We
it
could
to
do it on the
a
Instagram story as well. Although I don't know if I could do more than 2 options. Anyway,
Mine's his win.
find out next week. Find out next week. We'll put forward our best suggestions and see what happens there. Speaking of derbies, though, we were at the Dunfermline Falkirk game at the weekend. Jonathan, Darren sadly didn't make it.
Nope.
Missed a good one. It was a Category A+ game.
Mm.
You know what this meant, Darren?
Not particularly.
Not particularly. For the police, it was classified as a Category A+ game.
All right. Yes.
Because of some
Now it
shenaniganry
makes sense.
that has been going on between the fans over time, possibly related to Dean Shields, and I can't, elaborate any further. The throwing of certain objects onto the pitch in relation to Mr. Shields' eye.
So
we
I
had-
did see that.
We had flipping horses. I've never seen so many police cars at the Falkirk Stadium. A good 6 or 7.
And people were getting frisked going into the game as well. which
Frisked
was
going into the game?
ridiculous.
This was absurd.
I know.
The game itself didn't cause that much trouble.
It never was.
Well, I heard before the match there was 1 or 2 wee scuffles, but
It's always going to be the case.
It is a big rivalry for listeners that don't know.
Unless you're a Dunfermline fan, then they'll claim it's not a rivalry.
Well, they were
It's not a real derby.
they were chatting away about the wee team for Falkirk.
For the Shire.
And if it's no a rivalry to them, I've never seen any fans celebrate
Exactly.
a second goal
Aye.
in the way they did. But you know,
It's good
best
to have
atmosphere
that.
we've seen all season. I think
It's really good to have that.
it is.
I can't disagree with the result. Fully deserved for Dunfermline. Falkirk are ranked rotten.
I think for me, you know, Dunfermline are in third on 52 points. Falkirk are in 8th with 38, and it looked like that.
Yeah, that was my opinion of the game.
Did you see the
I
highlights?
seen the highlights. Yeah.
But did you watch both highlights? I watched both Falkirk and Dunfermline highlights,
No.
and I have to give the edge to Falkirk on their coverage.
Well, that must be a first.
Well, no, good commentary, steady camera action. Considering the Dunfermline footage looked like a handycam, which had no commentary to it, but it was fairly generous in the portions of Falkirk that they gave. Callum Higginbottom getting the opener, quite fortunate.
Big deflection.
But you know, they've been pushing Falkirk that whole first half. They were totally dominant.
They played against their weaknesses really down the two sides. He was playing McGee at left back, or left full back really.
Wing back kind of
Bizarre because you had Muirhead has played right back.
yeah.
And McGee is a much better centre back, so why not have them swapped round? Why only have two in the midfield?
Well, the point
Absolutely boshed.
the point that it was weird that they started with Paul Watson
Oh, calamity.
in defence. So what you would have been better doing was take Watson off, put McGee in the centre, and put like Regan Tumblety. And I thought Regan Tumblty's been all right,
I think he's coming back from injury, but
better than a fully fit.
well, why? I mean, he could have played
Paul
Tumblety
Watson.
for the first half,
Aye.
and then Brogdon Kidd for the second half.
No,
No.
okay. Well, Kidd could have been an option as well.
Kidd
He's
came
a
on for the
fullback.
last 20 minutes and played him in no man's land.
But-
It highlighted everything that was kind of needs to be changed for Falkirk over
Yes.
the summer. It's the whole bloody lot needs to be shifted out. And
Well, the point that we make is, you know, Hartley's been sticking with this weird. You could call it a 5-3-2 or a 3-5-2, depending on how you look at it.
aye.
The midfield three have been next to useless for
Well,
those
it's not
two
really been
games.
a three either because Longridge just disappears up the park.
He-
We're playing
He
three
kind of
up front.
floats about,
We're
yeah.
playing three up front, really.
You could say it like that, but that's not worked either. In that Nelson and Jakubiak, and you know, who individually I think have been fantastic, can't play together at all.
The space is limited. It goes out to Longridge, who is just a bog greedy so-and-so.
He's been struggling of late as well.
It's like, if he comes out of the equation and you play Sibs where he kind of operates at the moment, much better.
Yeah.
Put Taiwo in the centre and bring him back.
Oh, don't bring Taiwo back.
Bring my boy back.
Taiwo's the future Mark Kerr. That's what you're dragging that into. I always get confused that Sean Welsh
Oh,
in
you're
the
right.
centre
You've
midfield.
got
Ah,
Yardo.
no, there was a few wee flicks.
yard off.
If you watch the highlights,
Aye.
there's a cheeky wee back heel.
The boy's a yard off the pace though. Like,
He is. I always get him confused with comedian Sean Walsh as well. So I'm glad I'm not a commentator because that would be
in
Sean
his
Walsh.
style of play.
Actually, I might have announced that at the development league. I'm not sure. Oh yeah, he's a comedian, not a footballer.
I don't feel anyone impress you.
I was really impressed with the centre halves, which is why I've got my team sheet out.
Williamson.
Well, yeah, Callum Morris, Ryan Williamson as well. Just they had the number of Falkirk's biggest threat. Jakubiak couldn't he move?
No, they were all over him. But there was
Aye.
no service going into Quebec. See, when you watch the last 15 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
start getting balls into behind
Mhm.
that centre back pairing, and Quebec had him.
Aye.
Had him for pace. We never did that enough. We never had the
No, that's
service.
true. There was a few fouls where they had to take him down.
Aye, and put us in that Wedderburn breaking Nelson's jaw.
Well, if you've seen the physicality of Wedderburn, he's not one to go in a head-to-head challenge with.
If you wonder why this was an A+ match, it's Nelson's blood type.
Aye, he was beaten up badly in that collision. Falkirk subs. Harris came on, which I thought was a slight improvement.
Oh, bomb scare. Did you see that ball across the box?
Aye.
Neither
well,
here nor there. The abuse he got for that was just ridiculous.
I was standing next to, in our commentary gantry for the announcing and stuff like that. Alex Smith actually came up and stood next to us. So I'm pish feared to say anything tactical at this point because this is a man of 60 years experience, and he was leathering it into Harris, who he was one-on-one with the keeper. He had an option left, and
It was Tommy Robson was coming in for the left,
aye.
and he could have squared him in. He could have played
Aye.
him in.
And Alex Smith, who's come across to me as a gentle old man, he was like, "That's bleep! Wasn't it a shot or a cross? What's he playing at?" And when you have a man of 60 years footballing experience, and he was
So-
furious. He's never come up and stood next to us before.
Yeah.
So he was seeing what to go through and rattle them for after the game. But yeah, they can't attack at all. There's no creativity.
Falkirk are done for the season.
But
the worrying thing is actually Dumbarton picking up points.
Yes.
It's like,
well, yeah.
maybe we're not out of this after all.
We
look
looked
5
down,
away games in the bounce.
We looked down the league and not up. Unfortunately.
5 away games in the bounce and then St Mirren at home.
Well, Dunfermline, the complete opposite though. They've picked up points, I think, from the last 4 or 5 on the bounce.
What I'd ask you though is, when you look at that top 4 at the moment, and it finished like that,
yep,
and it would be Ross County, I think's in the 11th.
Yes.
At present.
Yeah.
Would the Championship team, any of them, beat Ross County?
I think there's more chance of Ross County over Partick for some reason. I don't know why, but
yeah, I think Partick have a few.
Yeah, on a playoff game, I think Partick could win, but Ross County, not so sure.
It's on their day. See, they've been scoring a lot of goals again.
Yeah,
they came back onto form.
Aye,
when you watch Ross County,
yeah,
they're back at it at the right time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought Dunfermline looked really strong, and there's big names through that squad. You know,
Higginbottom's massive. It's about 11 characters.
I'm looking at that there. It's quite long. But you know, the forward line. You know, Nicky Clark scored heaps of goals this season.
No comment.
He's done John's biggest.
Do you not like Nicky Clark?
No, not at all.
Why?
I've also wondered, like, Fraser Aird had probably one of his best games I've ever seen him.
Oh, Fraser Aird.
He's a wee naff, but my God.
Like, how on earth he's still playing? He could barely get a sniff of the team at Falkirk. And what got me is when he got subbed off, he applauded towards the Falkirk fans in the South Stand. As if to say thank you.
No, that was sarcastic because he was getting some amount of abuse.
Oh, quite right. But I was thinking, do you think you're appreciated here, son? Because you're freaking no. Get off the park. Aye, Aird I don't rate. I was surprised they didn't actually play Joe Cardle to start. I thought he was one of their top talents.
Yeah, he's been
maybe injured probably.
Maybe.
Because he would be a starter.
Yeah.
Super Joe not in there. Oh, they've got James Vincent as well. Is that a recent addition?
Remember Bex and Verness?
Aye.
Yeah.
Michael Payton, I wonder if that's the same boy that used to play with Aberdeen. But no, they look set for the playoffs. If it's Livingston, Dunfermline, Dundee United, who goes through to the final?
Livingston probably.
Livingston in my head, yeah.
Every chance, but Livingston we get Horst off Ross County.
Probably.
Or Dundee, or Partick. It wouldn't matter.
See, that boy Hardy's got 7 goals. He's only played for them.
Yeah, he's been doing well for them.
I still think though that the Championship teams at the moment, they're nowhere near strong enough to take on bottom of the Premiership.
That's strong enough. I mean, it's so difficult, as we said, because of the disadvantage. There's weaknesses in all those teams, Dundee United especially.
Oh yeah,
but they might not make it.
Well,
even if they did get a playoff place, I don't see how they'd turn around that form.
No. Did they come back to draw? Was it Morton?
No, they got beat 3-2.
I'm sure they got beat.
Dumbarton.
Yeah.
Oh, Dumbarton.
They got it back to 2-2, and then I think it was Craig Barr scored another 2 goals or something.
Hey, Craig Barr's a cracking defender, by the way. Get him signed up full time.
Aye.
That's what I'm saying. They look mince. They've got a few games to clear it up though. 49, Dunfermline on 52, Livingston on 58. Oh, you see the 2,500 that went to Brecon for St Mirren?
Didn't win the
league. So they now have to plod up to Dundee United, I think, in the week, with hopes of fixing it there. Which is a shame. It's 2 away fixtures for them actually. I don't believe they'll present the trophy there, presumably.
No,
but
they play. Their last home game is against Morton.
Right.
Is it?
So they'll get the trophy on that day.
Oh no, the SPFL need to look into that because it's a derby and we can't be awarding the trophy.
That will be an A+ fixture.
That will be an A+ fixture.
It'll be no Morton fans anyway. It'll just be.
Morton are funny. They're kind of up and down on the peripheries of the playoffs at the moment.
Nice are rolling back.
Yeah, 41 points. So they would take kind of 3 victories and everyone else above them to lose. So they would need to go into a right run of form.
Everyone else not to.
I see Morton as like the bottlers too when it comes to the playoffs. So even if they did get a playoff position, I could see them just not.
I think they're one of these teams that would be ecstatic just to get to the playoffs.
Yeah, well, they're always quite consistent that way. They always get a playoff place usually. But
as you say, they've bottled it with a few high finishes in recent seasons and not really done much with it. So it'll be an interesting set of games. Maybe go and see Livingston ones actually. I thought that's quite nearby. Gives me something to do around about the time of the playoffs.
There's a Starbucks nearby.
I know. There's a few Premiership games this weekend as well, but whatever.
Nah.
I think the main ones to look at there are the teams involved in the Scottish Cup semi-final next week.
Aberdeen getting pumped.
Aberdeen got pumped by Hearts.
Motherwell drew against St Johnstone.
St Johnstone.
0-0.
But Aberdeen did beat them in the week. So, the thing is, Hearts seem to have the measure of Aberdeen, I think. Levine's only lost 5 games against them in his entire time as a manager. And I think the thing about Hearts is they seem to be back to full strength. And the physicality of that team, Aberdeen just couldn't
cope.
Couldn't deal with.
Couldn't work.
The goals were absolutely horrific, but I think Aberdeen's key strength is their midfield. And if they're playing well, all good. Because the strikers, starting with May again and Rooney,
Yeah, I noticed that.
not going to dig you out of trouble. And I think the physicality thing's interesting because Motherwell with Curtis Main, who's quite a unit, could kind of bully young Scott McKenna about, or depends who they play.
Very much.
I think Aberdeen should edge it though. I'm feeling confident.
They should edge it, I think. That's how I feel, but you never know. Motherwell, they are a good cup team too.
That's the thing. I think it's all to play for. And I think when you come up against Aberdeen, it's a team people feel that they can defeat. They've got a mentality issue. I think they'll be scunnered in the top 6 playing teams of a similar calibre, despite the fact they've been playing well. I think Motherwell will be disappointed with that run going into the game, but on the opposite side of things for the Old Firm, Celtic scraping by Hamilton today.
Aye.
Yeah.
Hamilton gave him a bit of a
Surprised
go.
at that, yeah.
Rakesh Bingham scored at a miraculous occasion. You see that Dundee tweet of Sophie and Musa scoring from open play? No, it's not an April Fool. Was the tweet on the day, which was very good. They themselves getting horsed by Rangers. So Rangers coming in with the momentum, but
does Murtry have the tactical nous?
Has he got the tactical balls? That's what I'm thinking.
I don't think he does.
I think if there's ever going to be a chance the Rangers winning, it would be in this cup game because
Will happen eventually.
I think eventually it
The
is
more
gonna
they play them,
and they're getting closer. So it's a one-off game. And I just think if there is going to be a chance for Rangers to win, it would be this one.
I think it's dependent on that front line. Kenny Miller, I thought, played fantastically.
I was impressed by his goal actually.
His finishing is second to none of those strikers. Cummings and Morelos, take a look. Cummings must be fuming. He must be foaming at the mouth to start one of these games. Give up on Morelos. Just give up. I'm not a fan. He scored one for point blank range, but
no, he's not been great. He doesn't merit the hype. Put it that way.
So Darren thinks Rangers will do it. Do you think Rangers will do it?
I think it'll be close. I think Celtic might edge it.
I think Celtic have been struggling the last few weeks. I'm a Celtic fan through and through. What am I saying?
Who do you want to see Aberdeen get in the final? That's the question you should be asking.
Well, if it's Celtic, we all know what's going to happen. Unfortunately,
okay, beat.
Exactly, they will get beat. So misery. But those are our predictions. Anyway, do you want to hear about predictions we've had of old?
Oh, okay.
Yes, we do. So let's bring back. Let's dust it off. We've not used it in a while. The quiz music. Woohoo! You missed the quiz music, Darren?
Oh, definitely.
Can you hear it nice and clearly in your ears right now?
Oh, yes.
There you go. So, a few questions this week based on daft statements we've made in the past. So some of us have prepared some questions to ask each other. Shall I start with my few to start us off?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so we've trekked through old episodes to find some of these. So John, I'll start with you.
Okay.
Which set of fans did you label hooligans in our Betfred Cup preview? Was it A, Stirling Albion? Was it B, Brecon City? Or C, Inverness Caledonian Thistle? Which fans did you label hooligans? Stirling Albion A, Brecon City B, or Inverness Cali C?
That's a tough one.
Did I label any of them hooligans?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
I thought this was going to be the party thing with our devil dog.
No, not the part. I think I've got a bigger clanging after this. I'm going to have to push you for an answer, John. It's A, Stirling Albion.
Brecon.
Incorrect. It was Stirling Albion. You labelled as hooligans.
I wouldn't have got that.
We were discussing the stadium being separated just in the main stand, and you were discussing whether we need segregation or not, and then you labelled Stirling Albion fans as hooligans in an ironic sense. I believe so. There you go. Now, the next question. According to John, The league title hinged on the signing of which player? A. Gary Harkins, B. Jason Cummings, or C. Rory Loy?
Probably Rory Loy.
Oh, well,
I was like, no.
you're correct. It was Rory Loy. The clip at the start of the season was we were discussing on whether it was going to be Falkirk or St Mirren signing on Rory Loy, and that it hinged on who was going to win the league.
I was right.
You were! Rory Loy signs with Falkirk, St Mirren win the league. So not in the same sense that you thought it would be. Now to Darren, you're my next target.
Right.
So, which nation did the club that finished third in their playoffs qualify for the Europa League? As we asked in our preview show for the Europa League, right? So, which nation did the club that finished third in their playoffs get to the Europa League, essentially? So, was it A, were they from Malta?
Right.
Was it B, San Marino? Or was it C, Iceland? So, they finished third in their playoffs. Was it A, Malta, B, San Marino, or C, Iceland?
I want to say Malta, but I think it was Malta.
You're incorrect. There were a Maltese team in there.
Yeah.
Hibernians were the one, but it was San Marino.
Oh, San Marino.
San Marino. If you go back, you'll
It's
listen
kind of
to
coming
that.
back to me, actually. Yeah.
Most likely. There you go. Second question I'll ask you. I'll go a bit off-piste with this one, not the thing.
All right, okay.
Which team did you say played beautiful football but couldn't score a goal? Okay. Played beautiful football but didn't score a goal. Was it A?
Girona. It was Girona, wasn't it?
Okay, it was Girona.
Sorry. It just came back to me, sorry.
I was
forgot
going to
about
give you
it.
the multiple
What was the
choice.
choices?
It was going to be like Barcelona, Hamilton and Girona. Because Hamilton played beautiful football and didn't score any goals. So John, I believe I'm your next target, am I?
No, I just want to have a rant at you.
Oh. What did I predict?
Oh, you whinge at me about my predictions.
Okay.
Do you remember a while back, a certain Highland team?
Inverness Caledonian Thistle.
Oh, yes.
I thought we'd be a roaring success.
One of my favourite moments.
The man across from me was adamant that Inverness were going to finish top 6. Relegated.
Oh, yes. I
Now,
remember that season.
I'm still waiting on that Inverness top
Yeah,
being
I'm not
bought, by the way.
bothering. I'm not bothering.
Still not arrived yet, that's shocking.
I'm waiting for the deals. I'm going to get Austin 9 on the back.
You could have had Baird on the back.
That would have lasted. That was great value for money there.
You'll get a discount.
Aye. That's true. That's a shout. See if I can find his old kit.
Probably about 50 of the line in the back room.
Aye. So, was it just the Inverness?
I just want to have a rant at you about Inverness.
Oh, I thought I had way worse predictions. Who do I think would do badly this year? I had Rangers to finish 4th this year, I think, which was controversial at the time.
I'd have Hibs up above them as well.
I had Hibs above them.
Yeah,
Well, that could still happen, though. It could end up.
Well, aye, maybe.
It could end up Celtic, Aberdeen, Hibs, Rangers, or. Well, who knows?
You were
Who knows?
adamant that
Who knows?
Aberdeen. That was the previous show that I was listening to. And you were adamant Aberdeen were coming second.
Oh, I'm a furious.
Rangers!
Furious.
No chance!
Furious dandied on there, Dan. Couldn't be denied. So no, I think that was quite fun, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I was just listening back to the Rory Loy clip. I was in stitches because we had no idea.
Nah, it was
no idea. You were so excited. You went
I
out
felt
and
great.
bought your season ticket.
I was there at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Aye, and again, the Europa League quiz is one of my favourites.
Oh, yeah.
You were very good at that, Dan, because you got the La Liga teams. In the end, I think it was a tie. I didn't have a tiebreaker question, so
Right.
that was that. Unfortunately. Anyway, to round us off, I think we have another couple of top 5s. I think John, we'll go with your top 5s this
My
week,
top 5?
as we're running out of time.
Rangers from 5 to 1. This is my top 5 stadiums that I've been to in Scotland.
Okay, a veteran of the Scottish football stadium
Yeah,
tour.
I've been about a bit for a guy 24. It's a difficult one. These aren't necessarily based on ambience or anything like that. It's just how I feel about
Ambiance.
ambience.
In at number 5.
It's the Falkirk Stadium.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Focus.
All 3/4 of a stadium.
Eight Scots pies.
Better than Brockville.
No, I'm trying.
Well,
to
why
make
is it number
I'm
5?
trying to make it current.
Stuff current.
Right. Okay. Well, probably top of the list, and that ruins everything.
Oh. I'm pantsed up here listening.
Don't make up rules as you go along.
Yeah.
Okay,
Stop moving the goalposts.
Is it?
Falkirk goes in at number 5 because there has been lately
Uh-huh.
over the last couple of seasons some
What a
kind
memorable
of
moments.
memorable moments
Yeah.
which was lacking previous,
I would agree with that.
which is quite good. It's building a bit of history now.
It looks awful in the highlights, though.
The big open gap doesn't help.
Aye. Put the cameras
go
on
on the
the
other
other
side.
side.
Yeah,
That hard.
I watched highlights. It was last season we got relegated, but we beat Celtic at
Uh-huh.
home.
Yeah.
And it's the cameras facing towards the main stand.
Aye.
Both stands are full. It looks great.
Aye.
It just frustrates me that. But anyway, that's a.
And at number 4
is Wraith Rovers.
Really?
I like a wee trip to Kirkcaldy.
Well, what's the stadium called?
Starks. San Starco.
It's the Bernabeu as well. But don't they have that funny stand in the corner that's like it goes round the corner, but it exists by itself
on its own, yeah.
in a weird.
Tannadice is the same.
Well, you mean Dens?
No, Tannadice.
Oh right, okay.
Tannadice does it. That's the old main stand. You see it where they come out of the corner.
Yes.
It curves. That used to be the old main stand. See if you look at old videos of Dundee United Stadium, you can kind of picture it as it is.
Was, yeah.
The away fans are effectively where a terrace used to be with a roof. Corrugated roof. And the rest of it's all just terracing all the way around.
Right.
It's great when you see it.
Love a bit of terracing.
But no, I quite like a wee trip to Wraith. I'm here in half an hour. It's a nice stadium actually.
I'd like to go there.
Atmospheric next to the railway. You can see it
When you got
on your journeys.
1,000 or so fans through, it's cracking.
It's close to the centre of town, the pubs and all that as well, isn't it? So.
Not too bad. I mean, I didn't do that. I'll just drive up and back.
You're teetotal. The incident.
Just looking after my shape.
Aye, Easter egg, that's what it is.
Whatever.
And at number 3.
Is Ross County.
Really?
I like a wee trip up to the Highlands as well.
Victoria Park. The
So,
old prison ground.
I haven't been to it when it's been renovated.
Right.
Last time I was in it, it was terracing at both ends.
Right.
And that kind of odd looking stand on the far end, far corner for the away fans
Small one.
was never there.
It's actually quite a handy wee stadium when you look at it.
It's pretty decent
Yeah.
because I was speaking to my dad the other day. I was in Inverness's stadium before they built
Caledonian.
side end stands. That used to just be open.
Yes.
You had the away fans sit in the main stand.
Big main stand. Their main stand's really funny.
It's a bizarre shape, and
You got the
Reason.
covered middle bit, and then there's 2 bits either side.
a howling gale blowing off the Murray
Yeah, I know.
Firth. It's
You
ridiculous.
can't get away with an uncovered stadium in
Ah.
Scottish football.
But no, it's a nice drive up. It's a really nice place, actually, Dingwall. So
Yeah.
it's just a very nice place to be. It's kind of like Stranraer. Stranraer was nice as well.
Oh yeah, we love a bit of Stranraer. I think it used to be great, especially when 2 teams at the top of the first division, in Falkirk and Ross County used to be big, rivals as well for the league, and they went up because the stadium was good enough. And at number 2,
It's Dunfermline away.
whoa,
Of course.
East End Park.
Of course, if you're a Falkirk fan and you go to East End Park away, Dunfermline away is brilliant. The stand's practically full. It's absolutely jumping.
Quite a good away stand, I think.
For the most
isn't
part,
it?
we win, so it's
Quite a good wee capacity.
pretty decent. They always have a decent crowd as well, so it's cracking. It's really accessible, all that kind of stuff. So for the most part, Dunfermline, that's the only good thing about them is their away stand.
I'm curious here. What is number 1?
Number one.
This is
Big build-up.
this is throwing me.
Number one's
Is it Capello?
Nah,
Could be Capello.
number one's
Change
50-50 because it's more the city rather than
Right. Okay.
the stadiums.
Alright,
Oh wait. Oh, Glasgow then. Isn't it?
No, it's Edinburgh.
that's in
Oh really?
Oh,
Yeah.
what an away day to Tynecastle or Easter
Oh, I
Road.
thought he was talking about
Oh.
Spartans in Edinburgh City. Which you have been to, haven't you?
Yeah,
I've been to Spartans.
I've
I've
been there,
Aye.
yeah.
Oh yeah, you went too.
Yeah.
It's off Farid.
been to the old Meadow Bank as well.
So you like Tynecastle?
And Easter Road. They're brilliant stadiums. But for the whole day,
Uh-huh.
it's absolutely fantastic. You get the train through at 12, hit Spoons, your lunch.
I know,
couple
Spoons
of
are
pints.
very rare establishments that you don't get in many cities.
Nah, well, for Edinburgh,
So
it's too
that's-
posh sometimes.
That's a very cultured day out you're having there. You're the real football connoisseur, John.
Well, you go to the Counting House if you're going to Easter Road. That's on the Leith side of George Street. And you go to the
Right.
Graham Bell if you're going to
The Graham Bell.
Going to Tynecastle. That's on the Gorgie side of George Street.
For goodness sake. You're just going out in the middle of Edinburgh and then going out to the stadium.
What's wrong with that? It's honestly one of the best away days you can have.
Well, I enjoyed our day out to Murrayfield.
Yeah.
That's just across the road, so it's, same sort of deal.
I went to the Hibs Falkirk game last season, was it? That
Mhm.
was good. I enjoyed that.
Absolutely, they're really good for away fans, home fans.
Full shebang.
They're right in the kind of almost city centre. They're walkable for the train stations. Great pubs, great stadiums when you're in there. Great atmospheres. Can't knock it. It's much better than going through to Glasgow.
There you go. So John is a big football fan of Edinburgh. Or their football and culture. That's quite interesting.
Who knew?
Do you think they could have ever been as big as the Old Firm if they just kind of had a bit more success in the...
Nah, they're not.
Wouldn't say so, no.
They claim it's more of a rugby city, and then hee-haw folk turn up to see Edinburgh
Nah,
rugby. Who I think are
it's all the folk
relocating
that
away
migrate for the borders up into for the rugby games.
That's true. It's not a big sporting place, is it really?
No, I think it is a really sporty place. It's just cricket and golf,
Cricket.
and all the kind of random sports that nobody's interested in.
Oh dear. So there you go. There's John's list of his 5 favourite stadiums. So we have time. I think we've got a bit of time. As a footballing announcer, I'll go through quickly, as quick as I can, my top 5, because we're into our top 5s tonight, being the 50th episode.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Football songs to play ahead of kickoff. So my top 5 pre-match songs. So, in at number 5, I was kind of oohing and eyeing. I think it was quite hard to pick 5. Seven Nation Army by the White Stripes.
All right. Yeah.
And, bear in mind for this list, I've avoided club-specific songs, such as,
Bits and pieces.
Well, I would associate that with Hamilton, so yes.
Ambusters.
I was listening though on the radio today to the Celtic Hamilton game, and the Hamilton announcer is really dreich, and some of the music he plays is absolutely hilarious.
Is that right?
Like Jamaican steel drum music, and like it's absolutely taking the mick, and it's absolutely hilarious. 4, What's the Story? Morning Glory by Oasis.
Oh, that's good.
You have to have an Oasis tune, I think. And the reason I picked this is, Helicopter rises above Craven Cottage. Newcastle are playing. Santiago Muniz comes on. And that's where Club Foot kind of comes in as well. That's where I first discovered those tunes. And it gets the Stirling Albion fans going.
Wasn't.
So I call them the Binos instead of the Beanos. But that's my bad. 3, Freed from Desire.
Oh, yes. Has to be there. Has to be there.
We've drunkenly, said McHugh is on fire on the way home from nights out, even though he's been long gone from Falkirk. It gets people hyped. Absolute favourite there. I think it's a Newcastle favourite as well, isn't it?
Aye.
Feels like it would be.
A lot of places.
At 2, Carnaval de Paris, Dario G.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I think that's just the quintessential football song. When you think about football,
That's the
everyone
song
just
you
goes
relate to,
yeah. So,
98 World Cup.
yeah, 98 World Cup. But it's stuck.
Brilliant. It's one of these kind of very few World Cup songs I've actually...
And it's got a bagpipe interlude because we were flipping there.
20 years
So
later.
let's hold on to that. We didn't get a bit in Kanan's Waving Flag or Shakira's
Still one.
Waka Waka.
Waka
Oh,
Waka.
Waka Waka song.
Yeah, no
I
bagpipe.
wish it was that.
I know.
No,
So in at number 1, what do we think it is?
No.
Erasure.
No. Erasure. I said no club specific song. What respect?
Zombie Nation.
No.
The Great Escape.
My Sharona, the Knack.
All right. Yeah.
The theme song for this podcast couldn't be anything else, frankly. Notable omissions. A song I love is She Sells Sanctuary by The Cult. It's you'd recognise the guitar riff in it. Great for teams to walk out to. Anything by the Stone Roses. That's not a song. Just the Stone Roses catalogue. If you're there with your Green Island jacket, you look good. The only one I know by the Charlatans, always the tune I read out teams to. I love, but haven't played yet, that Lowrider song. God in 60 Seconds. Low Rider.
Oh, yeah.
Is
Oh,
a
yeah.
I think that'd be a cracking tune to play. Not played it yet. And notable omission, Bits and Pieces by Artemisia.
Yeah.
Artemisia, because I think it's appalling.
Outstanding.
It's appalling. Hate it. Anyway, on that note, I think it's time to round off. So,
Okay.
thank you very much for joining from me, Paul.
Here's guys, and here's the 50 more.
Would you...
John,
Here's the 50.
we can't go into detail.
Stick around for our centenary episode where we'll have top 10s instead of top 5s.
Thanks everyone from down.
Oh yeah, thank you. So have a good evening, a good afternoon, and a good morning.